I'm inside the cabin cold frame and it's a little bit messy. So before we can start the bonsai shuffle or just the transition from out to in for permanency for the year, we gotta do some cleaning up.
So it's a brisk fall day. The beautiful sunshine has been out most of the day. Got a fire burning some stuff, kind of cleaning the clutter in the garage. I'm cleaning the clutter under the deck. I'm also taking care of the bonsai stuff. So we got the IBC, the big tank of water that I had to take care of. So I had to unscrew everything, take all the hoses off, and then I had to drain some of the water and save as much as I could to bring into the PSGF and down into the plant room. And then the cabin cold frame is a mess.
So before we can start the bonsai shuffle or just the transition from out to in for permanency for the year, we gotta do some cleaning up. So I'm gonna keep you from all the fast motion, hyper in and out, move this, move that. I'm gonna save you all about a minute, maybe minute and a half, and we'll just do this. Yeah, about that quick. So that's awesome. It's all swept out. I got the back shelf here. There's a top shelf up here. This one's loose and can move around. This is for the big windswept one from Candace. And then we got the tray over here that never left. So we are all cleaned out. Got the window over here. We'll put the window right where the camera is and the door. This place will start to keep warmer temperatures during the day. And of course, I need to get the heater set up. The fans above there. We are all good to go. All right, this one's clean. On to the next bit of fall cleanup.
Always feels good to get stuff done. Now we gotta figure out a few other things to do. The black hose going into the misting system has been shoved on through, so now I have to try to get the hose back out, which might require me to go in and out a couple of times. So my on-off valve was too thick to fit through here, so I had to take that off. But that just means I can pull the rest out, and there we go. So the hose is out. No more water into the PSGF for the misting system. And now, to make critters not go inside the PSGF, we've got our caps. Outside, now I gotta go put one on the inside. It can't be all work and no play, so let's take care of the big one, because it's really gonna be quick and easy. So while I'm playing any kind of bonsai shuffle, rearranging things, it's a good chance to get a look at all your trees. Now this one had moss throughout the top up here, but there's been some critters chowing at the moss or using it. We have the big one that never did form the branch out here, but maybe next spring. So we're just gonna go ahead and defoliate this guy. So this tree has the purple leaves all year round, so it's not really fall colors. I'm not worried about losing the color on these. We're just getting them all off. So we can see our final prune on this one as we get ready for winter storage. Now this is a Japanese maple, Acer palmatum, that I got from a nursery that was in a discount section for like 25 bucks, 3 feet tall. We've chopped it a couple years ago. This was one of the original branches that's been now chopped since, right where my finger is, and now these are 2 new branches since. So we're just hoping for at least something over here, maybe off this side over here. That'd be lovely. We'll clean this up later. This only grows one spurt a year. It's almost like a single flush Japanese black pine in that it grows out for the year, and then when it stops, it like stops. Now I didn't prune this, I don't think this year, but I'm gonna go ahead and prune it now. So we've got an internode way back here, which is kind of nice, but it splits right here kind of nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead there and there. This one has a couple of buds that are trying to grow back here. We'll probably get something that could grow back here as well, but we're gonna go ahead and cut this one right here. We'll leave this one alone and cut this one right there. So there you go, all work, no play. The big one is done. It's time for more work, which is never as fun. We'll go put this back on the bench because we've got highs in the upper 40s to mid 50s for the next couple of weeks through the mid part of November. So I'm not worried about this one. And it was a cross, I meant to mention this earlier. This is kind of there's a big old, not when we fuse them together, but when we graft them together. There you go. Brain fart there. This was a graft, right? So a Japanese Acer palmatum with, I think, a more local upper Midwest hardy type of maple. And so I probably could have put this in the ground in Minnesota, but we're gonna put it in the cold frame nonetheless. We've got it pruned up, back on the benches for a couple more weeks of just getting sun and getting ready to make its final rest for the winter. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, the other one I wanted to highlight today was the clump of birch and the maple on the slab from upstate New York. So I got this from my brother Brian up in upstate New York, Gilboa area. And the forest is looking really good this year. Now it's past its peak. The leaves are almost falling off, but it was the best color since I've owned these trees. This tree right here is from the tree of my neighbors up over my shoulder. These were all tree seeds that fell into the yard somewhere and grew into trees, and now they're getting some girth. And this was a clump that was 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall or so. I've chopped several times. We lost these two, again, as a reminder, but the leaves didn't have as much of the brown on there. So a little less of perhaps fungus, or I let it get too dry this year maybe, where there was some dryness to the leaves. And so all these leaves were fantastic. And so as I defoliate this one, it'll give us a good indication of what I want to keep on this one before my son Toby comes over, because when he comes over next, this thing's going in the garage because I can't do this one alone. I think if I would have had a few more leaves on here of color and variation, I might have left these on for one more day. And the reason why is tomorrow we're supposed to get rain again. And one of my favorite things about fall is when we have all these amazing colors on the trees, and then we get a rainfall, and the trunks of the trees either glow or they get real dark and rich, and it makes the colors just pop so much against the really dark bark of the tree. And so I could have waited one more day, but this one's getting kind of scraggly. I thought I would take advantage of this on a nice day. So I did take a picture of this a couple of days ago because I wanted to make sure I got a picture of the color this year. Because again, it was probably one of the best years with color, and the leaves still look really healthy and less brown spots, so that was super nice to see, especially after I had a little bit of death this year with a couple of the main trunks. So this is white paper birch, and we've got our common maybe field maple or maple to my left right here. So now we have leaves to rake in and jump in. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And so now we can make some cuts in our forest, and we can see one of my favorite images of late is when you look at any of the books with pictures. I just released the Bill Vilvanis episode with day number 8 on my road trip, and seeing some of those trees in progression, but then also seeing trees with no leaves. They just had the Pacific Coast Expo again over there in California, Northern California, San Francisco area, and seeing some trees with no leaves on there on some images, just spectacular. So when you get rid of all the leaves, you kind of see the bones of your tree, and not all of us have great looking trees yet. They look great with leaves on, and I'm one of them. They don't look so great without the leaves. So this tree is a really nice, robust tree. This one's gonna be great big and a prominent tree in the forest. I kind of wish it was back here, but we can maybe take this and repot it next year and reposition some of those the trees. And in case I do that, I want to be careful of what I cut off. But I'm just going to go ahead and go a little shorter to the next level of buds. I can safely cut all these off. This thing grows ferociously, and we are going to be in good shape for another year of growing. So we'll leave that one like that. This one's long in the back. We'll just cut this maybe down in half. We'll cut this branch down in here. We'll just leave this one. Now this is a little bit weirder of a shaped tree, but it's in between all this forest. And then this one back here is growing back because this is a forest. It only can grow out towards the sun. And I don't think I am going to cut anything on that one. We're just going to leave that alone. So there we go. These in here are two of the original suckers of this cluster of white paper birches, and they're now almost about half as thick as the big tree. So they've really shot up in growth. It's been fantastic. We're going to cut this shorter, cut this shorter. Actually, we're going to cut this off and this one off. We're gonna leave those two. All right. Okay, so that's cut down low. And then look, here's the last chop point right here. And look at how this split off and started to grow beautifully. We're gonna go back to a bud that's facing that way. We're gonna cut this back to here and cut this one, leave it up there. We'll cut shorter, we'll cut shorter, we'll cut much shorter here. This one's still alive, but that one also needs a nice recovery out here, I think, with one of these trees. This one's coming at us kind of funky, so is this one. and we'll just cut this one shorter. This one crisscrosses, let's cut that one off. And now this tree is looking pretty nice back there. We'll cut this one a little bit shorter as well. This one will cut this branch here and cut this shorter, and cut this shorter for the branch to go this way, shorter and shorter. This tremendously shorter. We got all these little branches here and here. This one's got to go way shorter here. We got this one coming in a weird direction. Very bizarre branch right there. Okay, so we'll cut this one to the branch and back, the branch growing out, a little shorter for both. This one's coming back in. This one's weak. This one's probably dead. That one's weak. Cut that off there. Cut that off there. There we go. So now we have all that forest kind of nice. We have this forest kind of nice. This one should be a little bit shorter than these two, especially this one, but maybe we'll flip-flop those next time around. Now we got some branches in here that are growing kind of funky. Let's get rid of this one so we can see those branches back there. I love this branch back here. We're gonna leave that one for right now, but let's get it a little bit shorter. Let's get that shorter. And this is going sideways. We'll get this one shorter. There we go. This one's kind of growing up in a weird spot. Let's get rid of this one. It's still a weird angle. Got to go back to the next bud. There we go. Now that inside one is cleaned up. Now, there's a couple suckers down there. I don't want that inside one. So let's get rid of that one and see if this one survives. We'll cut this one much shorter. We're going to cut this one back over on this side. So there we have the forest. The birch forest with all kinds of stuff going on. Maybe this one has to come over this way more. We can bend this one back over here. From your angle, you'll be able to see the tree maybe through here, replaces kind of this one. So maybe we'll have to get a little guy wire over here at some point and make this one come back here. And again, I am going to consider repotting this whole thing in the spring, and maybe we'll shift all of this around one more time. All right, that was fun. So the next thing I have to work on is getting my shelf system down here in the PSGF down below. It's the place where the cold frame is always the coldest. So I got to put all the trees that are going to be the coldest in there. So I got to move some of these trees because these are going to be going inside to the tropical world pretty soon. Except for that patch right there. But I've got to fit a bench in here for it to work, so I can have double the space to store some of this stuff. So we're taking some of our trees out so I can fit a bench in here in a few moments. Now, some of these trees won't be so happy with me right now, but we're at about 50 degrees, and so the tropicals are just fine. All right, let's go see if we have a tree. All right, let's go see if we have a bench. So I have a couple of benches left over from up on my porch area, and this is one of them. And it can't be too high, and it can't be too wide, because it's got to fit through all this stuff. Let's see if this, oh, there we go, there we go. Does anybody remember the time that I mentioned on a video that I wish I had one more foot of space? Yeah, well, this is one of those times. Yeah, one more foot of space. Here we go. Okay, what am I catching on? So I think I'm gonna have to go this way. We gotta put it this way. Oh, now I'm trapped. There we go. Can I kind of go this way? There we go. We're talking about an inch, people. Remember I said a foot more? If I lift this up, and of course, worst case scenario, we get the drill out. Oh, it seems like it should just come in here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This bench fits in there perfectly, and I could get it in. Rock on. So though that work wasn't fun, it was necessary. Had to get that shelf in here so I can fit a couple of trays in here, a couple of trees. If my trees are too tall for underneath that bench, they'll go here. I always have to remember that the outtake exhaust here is blowing cold air, and this is where things cool off and heat up. I gotta make sure that's not blowing right on trees either. But that got everything in here. We are in good shape. Whew, yeah, boom. Another day has come to an end. I finished it off by fixing the bench inside the PSGF. Now that bench was crazy hard to put in there. I moved all the trees out of the way. I brought the shortest bench I have and the bench that was about the length I wanted it. And I just twist and turn and make it fit. And oh my gosh, I got it in there, barely. Remember I said in one of my videos, I wish this thing was about a foot bigger? That would have helped in that process tremendously, but it's in there, we're good to go. We cleaned up a few trees, we got some work done, the cabin cold frame is clean, the benches are all ready to go. And now, well, now the days are getting even real short because tonight is daylight savings time. And when I go to bed tonight, we gotta set the clocks back, and tomorrow I'm gonna have one less hour of brightness. Oh, so we can't get as much done on a given day as the sun goes down. The season is a-changing. That's gonna do it for me. I got everything taken care of that I need to, especially the water situation, so nothing can freeze. The IBC is empty for the season, and I think we're in good shape, but we got a lot of work to go. Maybe I'll get that tree in the garage soon too when Toby comes over, the forest of birch and maple. Hey, until those times, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one.